Hi, happy Saturday.
Hi everybody, we're here at Papa Chiropractic and Physical Therapy Live. How are you guys today?
I'm Dr. Michael Papa,
I'm Dr. Alessandra Colon.
and we're going to answer hopefully some questions for some people today. And a lot of people are saying, okay, why should I tune in to chiropractors during a coronavirus situation? Well, I've been in practice 30 years. We're very good at keeping people healthy who are healthy. That's partially what chiropractic's about. We are full physical therapy, as you can see. We're live from our Palm Beach Gardens office. We have multiple offices. A little bit of history and background on both of us. Dr. Colon's going to tell you a little bit about herself that she knows about facing, diseases as well, and keeping yourself clean, and as well as being isolated from others. Doc, tell me a story a little bit.
So one of the reasons why I particularly am here and servicing others while we're going through all what we're going through is mostly because as much as I believe in a medical paradigm, I also, at one time about 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I've made it pretty much my life's dedication ever since to stay healthy, whether that is mentally, physically, inclusive of the food that I ingest in my body, because it is about a whole wellness. It is about not only how you feel on the inside, how you feel on the outside, but what you put in and what you put out and what you make of it. So I've really made it a point in my life to make sure that I eat great, I exercise on a regular basis, I'm always on a chronic detox, and really I keep clean, because that is what is going to, in the end, protect me from all the bad stuff, if that makes any sense.
Yes. Her being a cancer patient, a little background on me. I've been in practice for approximately 30 years. My son was diagnosed with leukemia, so he is a St. Jude's kid. He's been in remission over 2 years, thank God. And technically we were quarantined. Cancer patients are quarantined.
Yeah.
So we know a lot about washing your
And
hands.
cleanliness. There were days, and I know you probably experienced this, where we couldn't even have a loved one come in unless they had a full suit on, full gloves, because I was so immune compromised that them getting close to me meant a blood transfusion. So we do know what it's like to stay clean and be in a life or death situation.
Yeah, so a couple of things, and I'm going to talk about staying healthy and what you should be doing on your own at home. But washing your hands is learning, being through the cancer situation with my son, is 80% of the prevention. Keeping yourself clean, taking showers regularly, wearing a mask. Let me tell you, there's a lot of controversy regarding masks.
Hi, Christy. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Lisa.
And I'm going to just tell you something regarding masks. They say, should you wear it, shouldn't you wear it? Well, any sort of cold or flu is transmitted. It could be airborne. It could be through touching something.
Hi, Stephen.
And when you speak, saliva leaves your mouth. And if you cover this area when you speak, less likely it's going to be airborne and people around you are going to breathe it in. It's just common sense. There's no mystery about what a mask does. It could be a tissue in front of your mouth. It could be a scarf. The other way around, too, is if it's over your face and somebody's speaking to you, you don't breathe it in or get it in your mouth, because the mucous membranes, which is your eyes, your mouth, your nose, is where it gets absorbed when your hands are dirty or you're breathing it in. Regardless whether it's coronavirus or the common cold, the rhinovirus, or a flu, cleanliness is something that we should practice every day.
And he makes a really valid point. There was a lot of controversy about the N95 mask, the M95 mask, but the reality is something is better than nothing. So we have been seeing a lot of people getting creative with making masks, whether that's a fabric or, like he said, a Kleenex. Something is better than nothing. So we do implore you to be creative. I've seen bras being made out of masks. So don't feel like just because you don't have the N95 mask or a blue throwaway disposal mask as if it's not being protecting you from your mucous membranes. So feel free to get creative with those types of things.
Just the common things you grew up with. When you cough or sneeze, what do they tell you to do? Cover your mouth. Why?
And speaking of common. Speaking of common, one of the things that we so often like to do, and this is why I found it so interesting, we know these things, we know to wash our hands, but for some reason we don't commonly practice them. They're common, right? But we don't tend to put them in our daily lives. And now we're facing, an epidemic or a pandemic, and now all of a sudden we're cleaning and washing our hands. But those are the things that over the years, over the course of years, that help you build your immune system in the longevity, not just in the moment, to protect you from these types of issues.
The other thing is soap and water, hot water. Not necessarily all the sanitizers and so forth. Soap and water is what's going to kill a lot of things. The other thing is bleach. If you can't get Clorox, wipes, and this stuff, plain old bleach.
Yeah, dilute
wipe
it.
down will kill just about anything.
We've been using a bleach dilution. Really, honestly, you could probably fill up an 8 to 16 ounce bottle of water and put a cap size of bleach in there. It is fully concentrated, so it will suffice as a cleaning solution in the meantime if you're having a hard time getting a hold of it. But do dilute it because it tends to be very powerful. It will burn the eyes and over time kind of erode things. But you do want to be able to dilute that for your cleaning solutions.
So the simplest things that we talk about keeping clean, shouldn't have to be told to us on a regular basis. So whether you work in an office and you're mandatory to stay open.
Hi Leslie, hi Sam.
Is little things you should do. When we all go to hotel rooms, we kind of skeeve out because, who knows what type of germs are in there. So what should you do? You should wipe down the phones. You should wipe down the touch pads where you dial the phone. You should wipe down your remote controls on a regular basis, the door handles. Anything that you put your hands on surfaces, you should do. Any sort of dials or so forth, you should be wiping down. And this way, you don't know who's touched it in the past. So staying just vigilant. When you have a child who has cancer, or you have somebody who's deathly ill, or somebody who's suffering from a lung problem,
hi,
what
Houston
do?
Park.
You constantly stay away from them, wipe things down, but you could still communicate. To see a relative with a mask on or gloves on, in most cases it's totally safe if everything around it is clean. So the thing is this, that is the biggest prevention. Even when you get in your car, you wipe your steering wheel down. Just little things, your door handles down.
Hi Tammy.
Just small little things. And when you touch, your eyes, your mouth, your nose is most of the ways that it's going to be transmitted. Right. So those are the things you want to be aware of. You don't need to wear gloves all the time. Just continually wash your hands and don't touch things. Right.
We tend to forget the skin is actually one of the largest ways that things get in, and one of the second largest organs on our body. So whether it's our legs, our hands, our feet, we're continuously soaking in toxicity into our body, whether that be what we're going through now or simple day-to-day issues.
So everybody's got that down, right? We don't need to repeat that. You're hearing it regularly. You're being interrupted on your radio, TV shows, and so forth. So let's talk about overall health. There's main facets to health, and to me, what happens and what I'm seeing happen for a lot of people is they're falling out of this daily routine that they might have had, and they're staying up late. They're sleeping in. They're consuming alcoholic beverages, which reduces your immune system. It's not all or none with us, but you need to maintain a routine, a sleep pattern. You should be getting 6 to 8 hours a night sleep, but you should be going to bed every night at 2 o'clock in the morning and waking up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. You want to maintain homeostasis with the body.
Thanks, Tammy.
The body needs sleep. So the number one thing for the body to recover is sleep. Consistency and frequency on your daily habits is extremely important. So sleeping, position you sleep in, mattresses you sleep on is very important.
I think people forget that when you're sleeping, you're really in a rest and digest phase. And it's really, really important for the body. So let's say I go have a ton of carbohydrates at night, and I'm about to go into rest and digest phase. Well, if I'm on overload of that, I'm not actually detoxifying my body by the morning. I'm still trying to get rid of all the toxicity instead of replenishing my body. Those are just simple things to remember. Sleep is really, really, really important to the rest and digest phase of your body.
Now, there's a phrase that runs through my head, and I don't know how appropriate
Hi,
it is
Dr. Allison.
for this is, idle hands are the devil's workshop. So, when you wake up in the morning, you should have a routine that you stay with. You're not on vacation right now. You're not retired right now, even though some people watching us may be. You need to have a routine that your body's used to when it comes to diet and exercise, and also planning your life. Whether you want to go back to the job you got laid off on, then do a resume. Instead of watching movies and binging on this, you can learn a foreign language online. You could do yoga online. We have friends of ours that, that are doing that. So you should be able to do activities even though you feel like you're confined. You're going batty, you're going crazy. Because what happens is depression sets in. When we see a lot of workers' comp patients, and the number one concern with workers' comp patients is they want them back to work as soon as possible. Because the studies have shown the longer you stay out of work, the more sedentary you get, the less likely mentally you're going to want to go back to work. So let's talk a little bit about diet.
But before we go through that, I think he made a really valid point that I want to express. He talks about the depression and the sleep. There's a really big difference between lack of sleep because of inactivity and lack of sleep because of activity. And that sense of accomplishment gives your body and your brain something to work towards. Now, while some of us are not working or while some of us are not in our daily routine, the reason why he speaks about scheduling and why that's so important is because a sense of accomplishment gives your mind a rest, a peace of mind. So that could be as simple as even making your bed, making sure you have dinner on the table, no matter how redundant it is, because it gives you something to do. And the busier you are, the more caloric intake that you're having or output you're putting, and the more your body gets away from the differentiation of exhaustion due to lethargy and exhaustion due to overactivity. And sometimes our body gets confused and doesn't want to go to bed at night and hit the pillow. So again, it's why it's so important to have a schedule even during times like this, because you're helping your body to rid of some of that energy, expend it all, so you have some form of exhaustion so you can hit the bed at night. But back to diet.
Yeah, well, regiment is important.
Yeah.
And you need a regiment. Because
hi, Rebecca.
Without a regiment on a daily basis, what's going to happen is you're going to fall into that thing we call the big wormhole that's just going to continue just spinning around, not understanding why you're getting more tired, not feeling good, reducing your immune system. You need to have the regiment, you need to have it planned, and you need to write it down. People say, I don't need to write it down, I'm going to remember. Make a list.
It's true.
That's what's going to make the difference between you, and not just you, your kids.
Hi, Gary.
Kids are being homeschooled, and it's kind of funny. I heard kids, the teachers are telling them, okay, take a break now and run around your house 3 times on the outside of the house and then come back in, because that refocuses them. It's discipline. And the hardest thing to do in your house, and people that work from home amaze me, to have discipline that they go into their office that's just separate. It's not being lazy, it's being more disciplined. Because you will not see the outcome. And you're going to want to know, why did I gain so much weight? Why? Food is not a shortage right now. You know that? And we're going to talk about it, but I'm going to hit some points, and I'm going to let Doc talk a little bit about shopping for the foods. But a couple things. 1, lemons, really good for you.
Detoxifier.
Ginger, really good for you.
Good for everything.
Totally. Garlic, very healthy for the immune system as well. Wheatgrass, nastiest tasting stuff you ever want, but probably the best, healthiest thing for your immune system. Your body, it's like a computer. What you put in the computer is what comes out of the computer. The food you put in your body is the results you're going to get. If you're not building it with vegetables, antioxidants, and healthy things where your body can make cells, what's going to happen is your body is going to break down over time. When patients tell me, hey, listen, Doc, I've been taking these vitamins and I don't see any change. I go, how long are you taking the vitamins for? And they're telling me, I've been taking them for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
It's a long time.
It takes months for your body to maintain and replenish the stores and then burn them. So your dietary habits should be regimented, it should be steady, it should be consistent. You look in things and you see when they even run the ads for dog food and they say, well, we guarantee you feed your dog this, it's going to get a shiny coat, he's going to have more active, more energy. Why? Because it's more nutritional.
And speaking on nutrition, one of the things that has really surprised me when I'm going to the grocery stores, and I was talking to Dr. Papa about this, is I'm going through the grocery stores, and as I'm going through the aisles, everything's empty, sure, but the most important area, the vegetables and the fruits, those simple and complex carbohydrates, are still fully stocked. And those are actually the things that we're forgetting to put in our body. I'll give you an example of what I do. I'm used to, he laughs at me because I like to eat. But I eat about 5 times a day on a regular basis.
I laugh with him, not at him. Yeah.
I eat about 5 times a day on a regular basis. And people are like, wow, you eat that much? It's not so much that I'm eating that much, it's that I'm eating good foods, eating around the clock, and filling my body with good things. Very different. But guess what? Now, during this time, I'm not sitting there working out 5 times a week in a gym for an hour, seeing a gazillion patients. So my caloric output is very different, which means I've had to learn how to change my nutrition. Now I'm down to 3 meals a day instead of 5 because I'm not expending the energy. And even one of my meals is just a simple protein shake because I'm sitting around a little bit more. Even though I'm working by the computer, I'm still sitting. I'm not walking around and being as active. So be particular to those types of things. I'll be really, really clear. Here's a good example of my morning shake. I take a little bit of sweetener, which is the like a coconut milk or an almond milk, a good plant-based vanilla or chocolate protein, and I use whatever fruits I have in my house. Maybe it's a little bit of peanut butter and bananas. That's my favorite. Or maybe it's the strawberries that are getting a little old. Put them in there with some spinach. Delicious, and have my greens. I really am staying full with that protein till lunch. But like I'm saying, remember that those proteins, the simple carbohydrates, which are your fruits, and your complex carbohydrates and those vegetables can be there for you to help you stay healthy and stay full during those times. Try and stay away from those chips as much as they're delicious.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cheese doodles are carbohydrates, but they're not necessarily good for you, okay? And if we kind of go back, you know, in 6 months from now, we look back at what sold the most in
Renee.
the supermarkets.
Hi, Jamie.
It's going to kind of be scary to a lot of people. We do these videos, short videos on our Instagram and our Facebook throughout the week with tips on things to do and not to do. But the second is exercise. Exercise does a bunch of different things, and it should be done at a rate based on your target heart rate for at least 20 minutes to 30 minutes a day. And people are going to say,
hi, Kira.
well, what's your target heart rate? Well, your target heart rate is you take the number 220, you minus your age, and then based on your fitness, you times that number. If you're really fit, 85%, 90% if you're a marathon runner, 70% if you're just starting to exercise, and you want to make sure that your heart rate or your pulse is at that rate throughout that whole 20 minutes. That's the best amount of oxygen to the tissue and fat burning you're going to get. Doing that consistently, whether you're walking around the house up and down, everybody's got their little meters on
Hi,
their
Caitlin.
watches now. You need to be disciplined. Discipline and laziness are 2 different things. If you're not doing it, one, it's not going to help your immune system.
And
If
listen,
you're
feel free to
depressed-
ask us questions during this time while you guys
we
are all
will-
watching.
We will take questions.
We'll take questions at any time as well.
If those out there who hate exercise, but when you do exercise, after you exercise, what do you say? I'm going to die? No, you're going to say, I
I'm glad I
actually
did
feel
that.
a little better. I'm glad I did that. And sometimes when you do exercise and you're thinking, well, you go for that run, you say, man, I don't feel like doing it. You do it. It winds up being one of your best times you've done. So treating a lot of athletes, we're used to injuries. You need to stretch. You need to be exercising with some consistency. And when's the best time to exercise?
Well, when?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. As soon as you get up in the morning. And the only reason for that is if you want to exercise today and you didn't do it first thing in the morning, what are you doing? You're mentally stressing about it all day, saying, I got to go do it, I got to do it, I got to do it, I got to do it. So do it and get it out of the way. Just finish it, get it done. And if you like to do it twice, then do it again at night.
That's
and
me,
I'm
I'm a
talking
little
something
weirdo.
as simple as walking. You are allowed to leave the house. You are allowed to walk outside. They don't want you in groups of people. But doing an aerobic exercise, an aquatic exercise in the pool, if you have your own pool, it's totally safe to go in. That chlorine and bromine will kill just about anything. So with a lot of the bacteria aspect, you know, just...
She's asking if we can have a glass of wine here and there. Yes, absolutely. My rule of thumb is this is Renee, hi Renee, great question. She says...
Wait, Renee, are you over 21 before she makes her recommendation?
Renee, she's asking, for those of you, she's asking, during all the workouts and even the curbing and snacks, is it still okay to have a glass of wine in there? Absolutely. I have a rule of thumb.
Not during your workout, though, Renee.
Not during your workout. It'll dehydrate you. But absolutely. And my rule of thumb is this, and I think people forget this. The most important thing about anything that you're doing with your body is oxygen. And I think that we can all agree, whether it's oxygen is a way of life, right? H2O has what in it? Oxygen. So if you're going to have a glass of wine, then follow it up with a glass of water. You're filtering your body with more of that oxygen that we need. Even going outside, like he says, and getting a workout outside, guess what you're doing? You're breathing in oxygen and you're breathing out the toxicity that your body has built up. He talks about exercise, and he says what? Pay particular to this. He says aerobic activity. And when you break that down, what does air sound like? Air is oxygen, correct? So that's why it's so funny. We don't realize how important these things are. So yeah, have a glass of wine. But my rule of thumb is follow it up with a glass of water as well. It'll help push all those bad things out as well. You don't need to stress about it. Just make smart decisions.
Exercise helps increase your endorphins and enkephalins, which decreases depression,
Hi, Amy.
increases fat burning, and the thing is, you need to be doing it every day. If you're sitting on your butt in your house and you're in a chair, I got a suggestion. Move.
Hi,
Get
Bjork.
off your butt and move. Walk. Do something. Don't sit on that couch where it's a permanent of your butt. Get up out of your couch, your chair, your bed, and just move. That's all you need to do. You don't have to use the remote. Everything's automatic. We don't even have to move today. Delivery. We want this. We want that. Get outside.
Yeah.
Ride your bike. Walk around. Move.
And for those of you who are just chiming in, one of the things we've been talking about is ways to stay healthy during this time, sleep and exercise. I have, even myself, as motivated as I may be, I have actually found it a little bit particularly difficult for me to be motivated in this time. It's like, oh yeah, well I can do it a little bit later, I'm at home, blah, blah, blah. And that moment that you start saying that in your brain is that moment that little kick of depression settling in, that little bit of lethargy, that comfort zone. Don't get used to that comfort zone. The moment you get used to it, the more excuses you give yourself and the bigger hole you dig yourself into to get out of it. Bigger and bigger. So that's why, again, earlier when Dr. Papa, for those of you guys who are just tuning in, one of the biggest things that Dr. Papa was stressing was scheduling. Even if it's as simple as doing the dishes, making your bed, make sure that lunch is at 12, not at 2. Make sure you're keeping up with those things, because I guarantee you, if you know that lunch is at 12, you're going to settle back a little bit and maybe not have that snack at 11. If lunch is at 12 and you know that that's happening, you got to cook, you might not feel so equipped to go into the kitchen and grab a snack at any time because you're constantly full. Okay? So again, for those of you who are tuning in, we're talking diet, exercise during this time, ways to improve your health, to build your immune system. Hi, Kelly, Kathy, Shari. We got a lot more coming in.
You know, I'm kind of old school. So, you know, if this took place 25 years ago, 30 years ago, and you're stuck and you're quarantined in your house, there's no cable, there's no internet, there's none of this that you're doing, people would go absolutely bananas. So what would you do if you couldn't interact, you couldn't watch Netflix? What if they said, hey, with the coronavirus, we're going to shut down the internet, we're going to shut down cable? People will go absolutely bizarre. But what they'll also do is they'll figure it out, because we're adaptable. And to be adaptable in this situation right now is the healthier way to go. Rather than complaining, rather than watching the same thing they keep saying over and over on TV and coordinated, they're not giving us specifics, they're giving us broad-minded things to scare you. But this threat or the scare is basically because people don't listen.
For those of you just tuning in, I've noticed a couple more coming in. Feel free, Renee, thank you for the question. Feel free to ask us questions. We're here to answer anything you want.
Other than alcohol-based. It could be a health question on exercise, because we're going to be trying to do this every Saturday. We're going to be giving tips throughout the week on Facebook, Instagram, so follow us. And we're going to show you some stretches, some things you can do. Because if you're having a problem, and we did a video the other day that, you know, if you injure yourself, trying to exercise, doing something that, and you're in pain. The rule: ice the first 72
Erica.
hours. Always ice the first 72 hours, and you use your ice. You leave it on 5 to 10 minutes at a time. 15 minutes. The long ice would be an irritant if it's left on too long. You do not lay on the ice. You lay the ice over the area and you rotate. It's never on your skin directly. It's always something very light, like a towel, but more of a pillow. Sheet would be a little lighter where you'll feel it, but always ice. We do telemedicine here as well. You can also call us. The consult on the phone, I'll pick up the phone, I'll talk to you as long as you need to give you some advice on what you need to do if you don't want to leave your house, because our office is open. We are seeing patients, and our offices, thank God, are big enough with 4,000, 5,000 square feet where we can separate the patients. Everything's cleaned down. Everything's wiped down.
Doing protocols appropriately.
Anybody that's not healthy in our office is staying home, but pain doesn't take the weekend off. That's why we're doing this. We don't mask it with medication and drugs and so forth. Your body's got to heal naturally. Chiropractor, your nervous system, that's what we work with. We work with exercise, nutrition, overall general health. So you need to be home, but you need to be taking care of yourself. It's not an excuse. You have access in your house, on your phone, to anything in this planet. So don't waste your time
And again,
watching stuff. Educate it. Find something you're interested in. Watch a video on how to sew buttons on if that's what thrills you. But don't just do nothing.
Hi, Sandra. And again, like one of the things that we were saying earlier, because we're getting a lot more chiming in again, is we were talking about, there's a lot of paradigms in medical, the chiropractic, staying safe. And one of the things we had talked about earlier was the reason why we are so devoted to what we do is we've been through it. We've really survived a lot. I was a stage 4 survivor. His son was diagnosed with leukemia. So I'm just letting you guys know that a lot of the things that we're speaking of isn't just because of what we do for a living, but because we've had a lot of personal experience in really the errors of our ways in trying to be healthy, whether that's eating right or exercising, drinking water, and getting, natural chiropractic care. For me, it's been a game changer for 15 years.
So what do you normally do when you're home?
Brooke.
Before all this occurs, what do you normally do? That routine, when you come home from work, if you work out or you get ready for dinner and so forth. But when you're home all the time, what do people tend to do? They tend to watch TV and they tend to eat. Okay? So, and don't think that Taco Bell and Burger King, where you sleep, we care about you. Don't think them showing the food and everything helps stimulate you to want to go and eat. So, as Doc said, you want to stay with the healthy carbohydrates, which are fruits and vegetables. You don't want to do the breads, the pastas, and so forth. There's a place for it. There are restaurants out there that are going to offer you healthy choices.
And honestly, David and I have been having a lot of fun. Those complex carbohydrates, think about your burgers, your chickens, all that kind of stuff. We've been replacing a lot of things with lettuce. And actually lettuce, although not in nutrition, it still has a lot of water in it. We're making lettuce tacos, lettuce burgers, getting creative in that sense. So feel free to supplement some things because it's going to take out some of that caloric intake that you're not expending. There
are a lot of restaurants out there
delivering.
that need your business as well. And that's something, we have a lot of friends there. We all like to go out and eat. But, the thing is, they do have healthy choices. They do have things that you can order that are healthier. I know it's easier to go with the taste good, eat fast, but they will make it. So when you call a takeout and you say, what, I want this and that, but no bread, no pasta, replace it with the
no Taco Bell.
No Taco.
That's funny.
No, but the thing is, they will replace it with healthy choices. If you have kids, what do you always say? Healthy choice, healthy choice. So do it for yourself.
And let me take a minute to say this. I think that I speak for myself in this, and maybe you guys can relate a little bit. We're hitting a lot on scheduling and maintaining that schedule for our bodies so that we have something to look forward to. But I'm going to flip the script a little bit on everybody. I know me personally, I've had a lot of times where I've been working, come home, 7 o'clock, cook dinner, put the kid to bed. I'm exhausted by 9. And I say, well, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for this anymore. I don't have time for this anymore. And I wish I could do this. And I wish I could do that. Well, guess what? Now we have a little bit of time in our hand. So I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to implore you to maybe think about all those things, all those unsaid promises in your brain you said I would do. Maybe I was going to paint the garage. Maybe I was going to garden a little bit. I don't know.
No excuses.
But now implore yourself to say, you know what? Let me hold myself to some of those promises I once had before that I didn't have the time to, because now you do. So he's right. No excuses. So maybe let's flip the script to be a little bit more positive in our mindsets.
You know, we're going to wind this up because
it's been fun.
we're going to be doing these throughout the week, and we're going to be posting them, not necessarily live. We may do them live as well, but we want to come back every Saturday while this is going on, probably from noon to 12:30. We're going to give you more tips on things to do, not to do, but simple things, guys. You know, diet, exercise are the two, and sleep, but not too much of any. But it has to be part of your life. Regiment, write things down. Write your goals. Where do you want to be in a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Don't waste your time just sitting there. I didn't have time to do that. Watch motivational tapes on YouTube.
We're garage painting today.
Or diet, or nutrition, or yoga. Don't do anything. A friend of mine, Jennifer Martin, does twice a week now. She's doing charity work, yoga online. You should be doing things that are gonna make you grow.
And let me also implore you to do this. If you have questions, if you feel as if you don't know where to go, what to ask, I promise you that Dr. Papa and I have a large plethora, a big community, and if we can't find out for you, we'll figure it out. So, for instance, my mom's been a little lonely. She's 68. So my mom and I are now doing free online Zoom classes with some local yoga classes here, and we're tuning in to yoga while she's at her house, my house, at 1:30. So it is happening around you. Just implore yourself to ask the questions, and we'd be happy to answer them.
And as we wrap this up, like I said, you can call our office.
Hi, Michelle.
You know, on our website. If you're on our Facebook, you have the number. But just leaving you with one thing: if you're not sure what to do, or you're starting to get hungry, get off your butt and move. Start walking. Get away from food. Get away from the refrigerator, and increase your endorphins and encaphlons.
And water.
Drink water. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Come back with some questions. You can hit us up on Facebook or Messenger.
We're so excited to be here for you.
And we'll answer them and we'll help you out. Guys, have a great weekend. Stay busy. Stay healthy.
Bye.
Thank you.